What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. We are here to bring you guys another position breakdown. I'm excited to be doing this one, guys, so I hope you guys are strapped in, locked and loaded, and ready to go. My man Nick is here. What's going on, baby? How you doing over there?
What's up, Mike? What's up?
All right. Now, guys, we got to go through the formalities. I know you guys hate this, but check out the website, guys, www.nothingbutniners.com. There you're going to find a bunch of articles written by a bunch of different people. It's all great stuff by great people. You're going to love it, I promise you. Check it out, okay? You're also going to see our social medias. Our Twitter and our Snapchat handles are NothingBut9ERS. Make sure you give us follows over there. And then check us out on Facebook as well as on Instagram. Give us some likes. Give us some thumbs up, hearts on the pictures and all that good stuff. It's Nothing But Niners. It's spelled all the way out. All right? I am 49ers Mike _NF. My man Nick is 49er Faithful 365. No S at the end of 49er, okay? And we're here to talk about a couple of things, man. Let's start with some news. We did a breaking news video, but just in case you guys missed that, Nick, tell them what happened today, man. The 49ers made some moves, the first one in the NFL this season.
Yeah, so the first tag of 2019 goes to the San Francisco 49ers. They used their non-exclusive, reported to use the non-exclusive franchise tag on kicker Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould is 37 years old. We had a debate on Sunday basically wondering if we should tag him or if we should just let him walk. It looks as John Lynch and company have decided to use the tag, which if it's a non-exclusive, which we didn't know this when we were doing breaking news, that would mean that Robbie Gould can still talk to participants or other teams and get contract money or ways of doing a contract. Bring it back to the Niners. They have the first right of refusal, the same as the transition tag. But with the non-exclusive tag, if the Niners don't match it and they decide to let Robbie Gould go, they get 2 first-round picks. So I don't really see any team giving Robbie Gould a contract. If so, we're making out even better than a franchise tag alone. So Robbie Gould is a Niner for 2019, and see if we're going to try to get him extended. Just gives us some time to get him extended or not.
Think that there's any chance that this is a play on just trying to move him, man? You think that the Niners are just possibly thinking, God, someone please make him an offer. Please make him an offer so we can get these picks.
Well, if I'm thinking that way, if we're getting 2 first rounds, I'm all for it. We can sign any kicker you want because I just don't think anybody in their right mind, other than probably the Raiders, but I don't think that either with Mike Mayock over there as the GM now would make that stupid of a move. But, man, if somebody did, we struck gold, literally. So
I see what you did there. All right, man. So let's go ahead and jump into this whole thing, man. We're going to talk about offensive linemen today. This position breakdown, this is going to be like our 3rd or 4th installment. We've already discussed defensive linemen already. We talked about the front office already. So we're going to go ahead and tackle the We're going to tackle the offensive linemen. We're going to start with the tackles, okay? So first up is going to be tackle Sean Coleman. All right, he was drafted in 2016 by the the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals. Right division, wrong team. He was a 3rd-round pick, and he was a high 3rd-round pick also. You guys got to remember that. The Browns draft pretty high. 6'5", 310 pounds. Nick, man, what are your thoughts on this dude?
Well, we didn't really see much play. We did see a couple snaps from him this year because of injuries, but I don't think it was more than 3 or 4. He, like you said, he was a high pick. He did play well. I think he was cut from Cleveland, and it was a late pickup for us. I think, wasn't it? It was later in the year.
Yeah.
So we didn't really see much of him play. Going back and watching him when we first got him, we're like, oh, okay, this guy, come in as a camp body or whatever. And that's basically what I think of him right now. With the way the injuries happen with the San Francisco 49ers, it's always good to have some depth. And Kyle Shanahan likes these guys that can play multiple positions. So it definitely benefits the team. He's not I'm going to tell you what his contract is if you give me 1 second. He's not making a ton of money. He is all right. There he is, $755,000, and he has a cap number of $2 million. So He's not making that much money. So I would assume he'd be back as competition guy, or a camp body type person, or even making the 53, depending on what we get in the if we draft any offensive lineman or pick up anything in free agency to compete with him. So it's not much money off of it's $2 million off the cap hit this year. So we're not really saving anything because he did have guaranteed money. So it's not it would be cap savings if he's cut pre-June 1st, it'd be $2 million. If he's cut post-June 1st, it is, what was it again? I just saw it. $2 million. So either way, there's no dead money at $2 million if it's after June 1st, and there's no dead money. It's just a cap savings of $2 million if he's cut. So you got time to decide, with camp-wise. So I don't think
we can save $2 million if we cut him.
Yeah, it'd be cap savings of $2 million. There's no dead cap hit.
When the Niners picked him up, did they give him a deal? Did he sign a deal, or they just?
So I will tell you exactly what it was.
All right, I'm just wondering because it's kind of interesting. 2016, you figure this is only his third year in the league. Why is he on a new deal? But we didn't trade for him, so I guess if he was cut, they did a whole new deal with him, so that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. So 2018, he made $658,000 with no workout bonus, a cap number of 68 or 658,000. 2019 is set at age of 28, $755,280 with a 20,000 workout bonus and a $2 million cap number. So a total of $2,658,000 of cap number, and his base salary total is $1.413 with a $20,000 workout bonus. So if we cut him pre-June 1st, like I said, dead money is $0 and cap savings will be $2 million pre or post June 1st.
He's lucky the Niners aren't in a financial bond because he'd be gone just for the savings purposes. That's pretty crazy. All right. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know a whole lot about the kid other than his weight and size and where he was drafted and the team that drafted him, and I barely knew that. I do have some of his grades pulled up here from preseason this year. He played at the right tackle position. All right. And in preseason, his offensive grades were okay. He had some good, some bad. He's a better run blocker from what I can tell. Let's see here. So he played against the Giants. He had a total grade of 55.8. His pass blocking was 61.8, and his run blocking was 60.6. Week 2, he played against the Bills. Overall grade was 77.5. Pass blocking was 62.9. And his run blocking was 86.3. It's pretty impressive. And then it seems like he went backwards here. Played against the Eagles. Oh, that's why. The Eagles' defensive line is nasty. His overall grade was 61.5. His pass blocking was 77.7, which is not what you expect against an Eagles defensive line. But his run blocking grade was a 56.7. What's interesting about that is this is the preseason from this year. That means that he was going up against one of my favorite guys in the draft, and Derek Barnett, the right tackle. If he's playing the right tackle, that means that he was going up against Derek Barnett. So that's pretty interesting to see that he did pretty well against him. All right, and then last but not least, the fourth game against Detroit, his overall grade was only a 44.9, which is really bad. Pass blocking was 75.6, and 41.2 was his run blocking grade. So maybe, just maybe, he's actually better at pass blocking. Now, if we look at his season stats, okay, from the 3 years that he was with Cleveland, his best year would have been 2017, where he had an overall grade of 64.3. Again, this is all PFF stuff, guys. His pass blocking grade was an 80.7, and his run blocking grade was a horrible 49.1. So I take back what I said. Apparently, he's a better pass blocker than what he is a run blocker. Sounds like our replacement for Trent Brown, for real. So that's it for him. Is there anything else you want to touch on with him, Nick, before we move on?
No. Like I said, I don't think it's a lot of money, so I think you can plan to see him here as a camp body or competition at that position. So somebody had asked, do you think he's our new swing tackle? I'm not sure about that, but I think he will come in and just be a competitive body and be a camp body guy. If not, either makes a 53 or, well, I don't think he can go to the practice squad because he has too many years. But so he'll either be a camp body or he'll be cut. And I think the Niners will just keep him as a camp body.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't see here where he's ever played guard or taken any snaps at guard, so I don't think he's at swing guard. We will get to that later on, though. We do have one, a player that I think is going to play tackle as well as guard. But that's not going to be our next guy here, although he did step in and play some guard for us. And that is going to be rookie tackle Mike McGlinchey, guys. Mike McGlinchey is here. Now let me pull up his overall stuff first before I am going to do regular season and preseason for him only because of how little experience he had. But let me try to get his overall grade so we can see what he was in comparison to everyone in the NFL. I want to see his overall grades. Oh, man, career grades are right there. See, do they have the rankings there? Well, Nick, while I'm pulling this stuff up, you tell me, man, what were your thoughts on Mike McGlinchey? I mean, we got to see him up and down. We saw him even play a couple of snaps at guard due to some injuries early on in the season. What were your thoughts on Mike McGlinchey and the kind of year he had?
All right. So from the beginning, when he was drafted on our draft show, I'm like, it's McGlinchey, it's McGlinchey, it's McGlinchey. Oh my God. But it actually turned out to be a really nice pick. McGlinchey had to step right in, as we all know, because Trent Brown was traded to New England. But you could see him progressing each game. From his first start to his last start, he was a whole different person. Now, whether or not I think he's just going to get better and better each year. But I think that for a rookie coming in and being thrown into the Wolves, learning a brand new playbook, learning the whole college to NFL transition, all new teammates. I think Joe Staley was a big successor for him, as we all see, karaoke bars and, Big Brother type things. But Mike McGlinchey balled out, man. Like, I think, everybody was like, oh, Quentin Nelson. And then John Lynch was like, oh, well, it was hard not to see this guy watching film when you're watching Quentin Nelson, So I think Mike McGlinchey was an A-plus player this year for the reason, not only just because of his play, because I think his play was a little bit less than A-plus, but I mean, overall, all around, he worked really hard. You could see him get progressing. He didn't digress. He continued to progress along the way from each start. Like you said, he even stepped in. I think it was his first game, wasn't it?
Yep.
The first game he switched over and played guard, which says a lot. It means that, like I said, Kyle Shanahan loves players that can play all different positions, whether it's defensively or offensively on the offensive line. And him stepping in there, he had a half decent game. There were some games that he got, a little bit beat up on, but it wasn't to the point where we were losing just because of Mike McGlinchey. So I think overall, I would give him an A+ grade on the offensive line this year for all the things that he accomplished, from coming in, switching from college to NFL transition, learning new playbook, stepping right in from day one, playing multiple positions, and being able to hold down and grow as he went along throughout the season.
Awesome. Yeah. When we picked up Mike McGlinchey, I didn't like the pick because I felt like we were creating a need there. I was one of the guys that said we can get another year out of Trent Brown. We didn't need to move on from him, and then we traded him like the next day. I felt like we created a need when we didn't need to, and we could have put better use to that top 10 pick that we had, But it was nothing against Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey was my favorite tackle in this draft. I just didn't feel that he was a need. We replaced one 6'8" guy with another. This one's a little bit lighter at 315, picked 9th overall. This guy, he was just physical, and he was smart. A lot of people will say that we sacrificed Trent Brown's excellent pass blocking for someone who can run protect better. And that's something that I'm actually going to see if it's true or not. I'm going to pull up their grade based off of PFF, guys. Let me just keep saying that. Strictly based off of PFF. I'm going to see if it was true or not. But
which we're not big fans of PFF, but we're just using it as a simple breakdown.
Yeah, I know people are going to tell you that that I like PFF, but I really don't. I wish if you guys knew how much I hated PFF, you'd be surprised that we were using it here. But Mike had some up and down games. Like, if I had to tell you to guess which game was his worst, based off of what you saw, what game do you think it would be?
I'm gonna go with Denver.
All right, Denver. That wasn't his worst. It wasn't one of his best ones either. It was Chicago. They gave him an overall grade of 46, which is really bad. And his highest game was against. You want to try to guess that one? Or you want me to just keep it moving?
His highest game?
Yeah.
The Raiders.
It's actually a good guess, but no, they have it as the Cardinals.
And we lost both those games.
Yeah, it was the first time we played the Cardinals.
We actually got sacked a lot those two games too, but I don't remember which side it was coming from.
This is why I tell you PFF is a little iffy. But he finished the year with an overall of 73.2. And so it's not a bad look for Mike McGlinchey, especially a rookie. This is the type of person that you want coming out, and you expect to see them getting better and better as the year goes on. You know what I mean? I was trying to see if I could find out where his offensive rankings were, but I'm not quite sure they're going to show that on this one. For whatever reason, I know we had him for the last show that we did with the, let's see here. Maybe this is it here. Offensive grade chart. Nope, that's just overall. My apologies. Here we go. Offensive grades. They're not going to give me the rankings, but I want to see how we finished the year. Overall, okay, here we go. We have some overall grades for him. All right, I already told you guys that overall his grade was a 73.2. His pass blocking grade was 64.2, but his run blocking grade was 78.2. 78.2. All right, now I'm going to see what Trent Brown's was, because that was a big thing when he left, you know. Everybody wanted to know if we were making a mistake by getting rid of Trent Brown, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was one of them. All right, so I'm going to look really quick for Trent Brown just to do a comparison, because, hey, why not, right? Now, who do you think had a better pass blocking grade? I mean, a run blocking grade.
I'm going to go with McGlinchey.
Not even close, dude.
Really?
Close. Yeah, no, I'm saying it. Mike McGlinchey had him by better than 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell the difference in between Trent Brown, and it's not anything. It's just Trent Brown is so damn big. It's hard to get down to that lower level to be able to push guys around. When you're pass blocking, you're backing up, so it gives him more of an advantage being that tall. I think Trent Brown's a hell of an athlete, but Mike McGlinchey is just more of a beast in the trenches. I mean, he can drive guys, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Mike McGlinchey finished it off with a 78.2. Trent Brown had a 65.4. Trent's overall grade was a 71 even, and even then Mike McGlinchey edged him out there. So it wasn't, we did not take a step back. Mike McGlinchey finished with a 73.2 overall grade. Pass blocking, even though that was supposed to be Trent's thing, he finished with a 71.6. So we weren't that bad based off of PFF again. We weren't that bad because we went to a 64.2. So not that bad. Anything else on Mike McGlinchey, man? I'm looking forward to seeing the young man come back out here and get better in his second year, get more comfortable in his own skin. You know what I mean? And just wait till he develops like that older guy strength. You know, he's only 24 years old. He's still a young pup, man. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get that old man strength, and he's going to be good, man. He's going to be a force. I'm excited to see him grow in the system.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to see how he comes along in the second year in this playbook, in this scheme. being around this team and just being able to progress. I think he just continues to progress each game, which, like I said, I think he's definitely going to be an all-pro or, Pro Bowl type player. I really think so. I mean, it just showed first year as a rookie, the grades that he put up, the way that he played. I'm excited to see him.
All right. So let's move on, man. The last tackle listed as a 49er is Joe Staley. Old man Joe, 10 years older than our rookie Mike McGlinchey, man. Joe Staley's been out here kicking it for a while. I had some mixed reviews on Joe Staley's year, but then I was like, you know what? I don't think he was that bad, actually. Joe Staley was playing, even though the team was doing bad, he was playing pretty good, man. I kind of like what I saw from Joe Staley. There were some times in some games where I felt like he was getting whipped, and it was just like a couple of situations, not like an entire game. He was one of those guys that you could see that he was adjusting on the fly, and that's, I think, the veteran savvy that you see out of him. What were your overall thoughts on Joe Staley this season, man?
2 years ago, if you would have asked me this, I'd have said Joe Staley was done. But once John Lynch came in here, our locker room started mending the way that it did. Even though we're losing and we're not playing good football, Joe Staley's hopes have gone way up, including his play has gone way up. There was a couple games last year, I'm just like, oh man, he's losing the step. He's losing this. And there were a couple this year, but not very many. If anything, I don't think Joe Staley's gotten better, obviously, because Joe Staley is Joe Staley, and that's just who Joe Staley is. But there are some things that you can definitely tell the age is catching up on him with. And that's not to downgrade or degrade Joe Staley. Joe Staley's he's been in the league, 13 years?
He's been in the league since 2007, so this will be year 13.
Yeah, so 13 years in the league. I still think he has a year or two to be able to play, but I think it's time to draft somebody to take over his position, so that they're there and can learn from him for when Joe Staley moves on. Not to replace Joe Staley right now, but a guy in the trenches to learn from, like Mike McGlinchey learned from him. And everybody says, oh, well, Mike McGlinchey's going to move over to tackle when left tackle when Joe Staley leaves. Well, why? Just draft a left tackle. Like, why do you need to move McGlinchey? So I think that it's time to start looking at the draft boards for a tackle in the draft, to start taking ideas and position points and stuff like that from Joe Staley. But I still think I think he has a year or two. But I think his contract's up next year, actually. So it could just be, we get somebody in here this year. It could be time to draft this year and teach and move on.
Yeah, pull up the contract information, and I'll do some reflecting on the man that is Joe Staley. So Joe has always been one of my favorite players. I like the heart and the pizzazz that he plays with. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that gives it his all when he's out there, and he's been through some ups and downs with the team, man. We heard him talking last year where he was contemplating quitting and retiring, and then Jimmy Garoppolo kind of came in there, revitalized him. He felt a lot better last year. And he said that now all of a sudden he feels like he has 2 more years in him. I think I was right there with you, Nick. I was under the impression that he might be ready to tap out, ready to go down for the count. But he's here, he's back, he's playing a lot better. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what Joe Staley can bring to the table, honestly. He had a really good year based off of PFF numbers. I don't have overall rankings here, but I do know that he played pretty well. The guy is damn good, man. He's really good. So I'm looking at all of his grades here based off of what they say anyway, and he's pretty good. Will you stop it? So the first thing that I want to do. Oh wait, really quick. Did you find the salary?
He's actually a free agent after 2019.
Okay.
So this is his final year. Last year he made $8,050,000 with a prorated bonus of $2,200,000. per game roster bonus of $500,000, $200,000 workout bonus, and a cap number of $10,908 or $10,918,750. This year it's pretty much it's the same numbers, but his cap number is $10,950,000 instead of $10,918,000. So from last year and this year, he's a cap hit of $21,868,000.
Okay. All right, Joe making that money, man. He's been doing it for a long time. He's had a couple of contracts with the Niners, so you kind of expect that. Let's have a little bit of fun with this because Joe Staley was obviously a better tackle than the rookie was. But if there was one grade that Mike McGlinchey had just a little bit higher than Joe Staley. So I'm going to ask you to pick if you think that was running or passing the ball. I'm sorry, run protection or pass protection.
For Joe Staley?
Which one? No, which one do you think Mike had a better rating in him?
I'd say, man, I'm going to go with pass blocking.
You think Mike was a better pass blocker than Joe Staley?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because they both got beat on a lot of pass plays this year and pass protection, but Mike McGlinchey's just a bull in the trenches. I'm just going to – I mean, I don't know what the true answer is, but I'm going to go with pass blocking.
All right. No, well, dude, you should have remembered, man, Mike McGlinchey didn't have that good of a pass blocking year. Remember we were talking about Trent Brown. So Mike McGlinchey's pass blocking was 64.2. Joe Staley's grade was 83.2 or 83.8, I mean, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think he was that much. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how PFF does their grading. But it was run blocking. Against the run, Mike McGlinchey had a 78.2. Joe Staley had a 75.4. But Joe Staley's overall grade, because of how high his pass blocking was significantly better with 82.2.
So it's almost, 11 points?
Yeah. So we don't need to do a whole lot of talking on Joe Staley versus Mike McGlinchey.
Do you think we give him another contract this year?
This is his last contract year or after this year?
His contract is up at the end of this year.
At the end of this year, if he
2019 is his last year
longer. If he thinks he can go for a little bit longer, they might try to extend him another year or two.
Yeah, which I mean I don't understand it because he signed a 6-year deal in July of 2014. So 6 years would have been 2020, but the contract contains 2 option years in 2018 and 2019. Oh no, because those option years must have been had to be exercised during the 2015 and 2016 league year. So yeah, 2019 is his last year.
That doesn't make any sense. How can you give him an extension in 2016 and have to exercise your options for 3 years down the road in the same year you're giving them the extension?
Well, that's just the way. This was before Parag was here, so
that doesn't, Nick. That's like, hey, Nick, let me extend you right now, and I'm going to exercise your option 4 years down the road right now. Also, that doesn't make any sense. That can't be right, bro. What side are you looking at?
I'm looking at contract notes right here. And over the cap.
Okay. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's all. I don't know how that's possible that you can exercise someone's option year in a contract the same year you're extending them. It doesn't make any sense. And just extend them. Like you either, I don't know.
Yeah, so it says Staley had already been under contract with the 49ers through 2017, but his contract will be valued as an entirely new contract rather than an extension. Staley received no new money in 2014, but will receive an additional $12 million over the next 3 seasons of his original contract. In return for receiving larger upfront money, Staley has given up free agency in 2018 and in return given the 49ers what would be considered reasonable salaries in 2018 and 2019 for a starting tackle.
I don't know.
It's kind of weird how it's red.
Let's keep this thing moving, man. We're going to talk about some – damn, my dog is in here now. We're going to talk about some offensive linemen here. We're the ones that are just listed as offensive linemen, not specifically listed as guards, okay? And that's a group of 4 players here. We have we'll start with Eric Magnuson. Friend of the show. Friend of the show. I like Eric Magnuson. So, Nick, man, we didn't get to see a lot of him. What are your thoughts on Eric Magnuson, man?
I like Eric Magnuson. I think he just hasn't really had a shot. He did step in, he did play, he was playing well. I like Eric Magnuson. I think he sticks around because of his versatility on the offensive line. I think he can play center, guard, or tackle. I think he can play all three of those positions. Not so much tackle as a swing tackle. I don't believe he can play, but Magnuson, I like him. I don't know if it's just because we had him on the show and he came on the show that I like him so much, but we've had a lot of people on the show and they just got X'd. So I don't know. He's not making a ton of money, so I mean, I like him as a camp body and see what he can do, and try to earn a spot. I'd say keep him. I think that he has potential.
All right. Well, looking at these grades here, if the team is strictly going off of PFF, then he's probably not going to make the roster next year. That said, Eric Magnuson has been a guy that's been moved around from both of the guard positions. I think he even took some snaps at center. I'm not sure if he ever played tackle, but he's moved all over the offensive line here. And his grades are suffering maybe because of it. I don't know, but he's got an overall grade for last year of a 52.5. His pass blocking grade is only 45.8. His run blocking grade is barely higher at a 53.7. So I'm not sure what to make of the guy. But I tell you this, though. When I watch it, if you listen to him, he's a very cerebral player. He's smarter than he is stronger, and then he is faster. He's all about intelligence. He's the type of guy where you're not going to beat him with the same move twice. However, he's prone to getting beat. He's going to take his lumps in order to get better. He's someone that, honestly, I think he would have benefited from going to a team that was really starved for the position that he plays and forced him to play an entire season. He's that type of guy where he would have gone in there, he would have struggled, but if the team didn't have a choice but to go on, I think he's the kind of guy that gets stronger as the year goes on. So, I like guys like that. I like guys who are going to go out there and really earn it, who are going to fight for everything that they're given. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Magnuson's only 25 years old.
Yep.
Well, he'll be 25 this year, and he's only making a base salary of $645,000. His whole total contract for the 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, was only $1,665,000. So only $1,334 of that is dead money. So if you cut him, it's $645,000 savings.
Pennies, man, pennies. He might not make it this year. Depends on what the team does in the offseason, but he might not make it. So the question that we always ask is, would you bring him back? Now, I didn't do that for Staley. I didn't do it for McGlinchey. And I also didn't do it for Coleman because I honestly believe Coleman is safe. I assume that you felt the same way, but I shouldn't have done that. What are your thoughts on Coleman? Do you think he's safe?
Yeah.
And when we say safe, really quick, when we say safe, that means that we believe that they're going to be there throughout the entire offseason.
Yes, I think he'll be there throughout the entire offseason. He's making pennies. It's competition. Yeah, he'll be there.
Okay. Now, what about Magnuson now?
Yes. There's a couple things that help Magnuson. One, he can play multiple positions, like I said before. I think he can play center, guard, and tackle. I wouldn't mind giving him a shot at center. Like, I really wouldn't. But even as a backup center. But I think Magnuson's back. It's pennies. He can play 3 different positions, so he has that versatility. That's what Kyle Shanahan looks for. And I think if he gets the opportunity to play, more than a few snaps here and a few snaps there, I think his grade will go up. I think he'll, if you're just jumping in and playing 3 snaps here and then next game you're playing 5 snaps there, and then, you get hurt, and then you come back 4 weeks later and then you're playing 3 snaps again, you can't really get into a rhythm. In it, I just take those grades as pretty much a grain of salt. But I think Eric Magnuson is back. It's pennies. It's competition. He has versatility. So, yeah, I think he's back.
Yeah, you brought up a really, really good point. A guy so diverse and a guy that moves around the line the way that he does, it's really hard to get into any kind of offensive rhythm or build any kind of chemistry with the guy next to you when you're constantly moving. And then not only are you constantly moving, you're not even playing in a week in and week out basis. You know what I mean? Like week 2, you might be playing at guard. Week 6, you might be playing at tackle. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to build that cohesiveness that you need with the offensive line. So like you said, you got to kind of take him with a grain of salt. You have to see this guy's study habits. He's one of those guys that if he's going to make it, it's going to be on the merit of what he does in practice and what the coaches see behind the scenes, not what us fans see on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's keep this thing moving here. The next guy on the list is I believe our only free agent now, and Mike Person. Mike Person is a 31-year-old, or he'll be 31. And well, just your thoughts on him, man. Do you want me to go first, or you? Because I have some interesting things to say about Mike, I think.
Yeah, you can go first on Mike Person.
So I started this entire offseason hoping that Mike Person was not any good. I was hoping that he failed, he bombed out, because I wanted to see Joshua Garnett get in there and kick ass. I have been pulling for Josh Garnett at the guard position for probably the last 2 seasons. I understand he's been injured and things like that, but it was still something I was hoping to see. Mike Person came in. I still will stand my ground and say that Mike Person had a worse preseason than Joshua Garnett did. However, Mike Person earned the spot. He played, and he played well. Mike Person really, really earned my respect throughout the year. This is a guy who battled through injury and refused to come out of games. Even when he was hurting himself, he refused to just, you know what, we're not playing for anything. Let me go sit down. Let me go lay down somewhere. And, I didn't realize that he was going to be a free agent this offseason. That's probably why. You don't want to put out any bad tape. You don't want to quit, especially if you plan on trying to get another year or two out of another team, if you want to get picked up in the offseason. You know what I mean? If you're a free agent and you're putting tape out there where you're quitting on plays and things like that, your NFL career is going to be over before you know it. And as a 31-year-old, he's been around and he's moved back and forth in the NFL. And he's played with a couple of different teams. Seattle in 2013, the Rams in 2014, Atlanta in 2015, nothing in 2016, but then he was with the Colts in 2017, and then this year with us. He was the only guy that I thought was going to finish the entire season, and he ended up getting hurt down the stretch there. I think he took the second most offensive snaps behind Joe Staley as far as offensive lineman goes. So that just shows you the kind of player he is. He earned the Iron Man award for me. He was battling through a lot, and he tried to keep Joshua Garnett at bay as long as he could. And yeah, man. I mean, I have a lot of respect for this guy, man. He really earned some respect. And I have to tell you the truth. He was one of our better offensive linemen this year, in my opinion. I haven't looked at the PFF grades or anything like that to compare him to anybody else, but he was definitely one of our better offensive linemen.
I think he was better down the stretch than he was in the beginning of the season, but maybe the last the 10 games or so, maybe a little less than that, 8. But Person is definitely, I don't know if he was just better than Garnett or just Garnett I don't know what's going on with Garnett, man. Garnett got his opportunity when Person got hurt. Garnett came in and got hurt in the same game.
That was week 1, bro. That's not fair.
No, this was later in the year.
No, they got hurt in the same game in week 1 against the Vikings. That's why Mike McGlinchey had to play guard, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That
was week 1.
Now,
later in the season, to your credit, later in the season, Person
he went out a snap.
Huh?
Person went out a snap, didn't he?
He was out for a couple of series, if I'm not mistaken, and then
and Garnett came in, and then Garnett got injured.
I don't remember if he got injured again or if Person was ready to come back in, but I know that Person went back in though.
Okay, yeah. I don't mind Person. I mean, you got to know what you're going to do with him, because A, he's either going to want starting money, or B, he's going to be a depth guy, and it depends on how you want to work out the contract, because if you're going to pay him starter money, I don't want him back, because I think we can probably do better than him starting money. But like I said, not to take anything away from him, he had a hell of a end of the season. He started to play better. He looked a lot better. And it could have been, it could have been play off of Richburg as well that wasn't helping him. You know what I mean? So I don't want to judge him completely, but if we're bringing him back as a starter, I don't want to see him making starter type money, like average starting type money in the NFL off of his play that he played this year. So would I bring him back as a body or potential starter backup? Yes, but I'm not going to assign him to a contract to where he's making crazy amounts of money and then we don't even use him as a starter because somebody beats him out.
Yeah, I think the 49ers would actually agree with you. Otherwise, I don't think they would have let – if they thought that he was capable of being a starter at a high caliber, I think they would have tried to extend him during the season or have been working on something sooner than now. You know what I mean? So very good points and takes there, Nick, man. And I agree with what you're saying. Like I said, he played hard. He played good. And I still think he was one of our better offensive linemen. His overall grades here, let's break these down here. His run grade, he finished with a 61.2 run grade for run blocking. His pass blocking was higher. That was obviously a strength at 71.9. And his overall grade was a 67.2. Not too bad in comparison to what the other guys were doing here. He finished with the worst of the linemen so far, the worst run blocking grade. He finished with the second best so far pass blocking grade, so he was better than McGlinchey. But his overall grade was worse than both of those guys. So it is what it is. Like I said, he's a guard. And like you said, man, that was something I didn't even think about, man. Weston Richburg, we found out not too long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, was playing with a lot of injuries. And so we don't know how much Weston Richburg's bad play was hampering the guys around him, both guards. So when we get to reviewing Lincoln Tomlinson, we're going to have to look at that also and see how he fared there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he brought down the grades of other people. So it is what it is. But that's really it on Mike Person. I don't have much else to say. I don't think they're going to bring him back. But if they do, then, cool. If not, I also understand.
Yeah, I think the way they bring him back or what we can tell by the contract is we can kind of tell what they're going to do with him because they're not going to pay him. I hope they don't pay him starter money just to get him back. And then, Joshua Garnett comes in and beats the starter. And then we have all that money that that's just selfishly paying. So I think that, if we can get him back on a decent contract as a camp body, knowing the scheme and stuff like that, not work, being healthy, and we can get him back on a 2-year deal, pretty cheap. I would bring him back on that matter. But if we're going to pay him top dollar, then I let him go.
Let me ask you this. I know that you were a fan of Magnuson. If you had to choose between Magnuson and Person going into next season, who would you take? Because I do think that my eyes match what PFF were saying as far as who played better. I think it was Person. But again, that was without Magnuson having any familiarity and consistency out there. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the grades don't do Magnuson very well. I think because, like I said, coming in for 3 plays here, coming in for 5 plays there, coming in for 3 plays here. I would rather keep Magnuson than Person, truthfully, because we have a capable guy in Joshua Garnett to play guard.
I feel like Person lined up somewhere else during the season also.
Yeah, he played. I think he played center one time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think Richburg got hurt, and then he went in and played center, I believe, when because Magnuson was hurt. So he had a leg injury or something, right?
Yeah.
This year?
Yep. You remember the game where I got all hyped that our guy Najee Tehran, someone else that we interviewed on this channel here, we really thought that Najee was going to get his chance to start, and at the very last minute, like an hour before the game, the Niners were like, "Yeah, no," and Najee Tehran was already told that he was going to start, but at the last minute they were like, "No, Mike Person's going to play." He said he's going to play through it. I was like, damn, like he's really a warrior out there. So, again, tip my hat to the guy. He earned some respect out there. All right, so we're going to keep this thing moving, man. Our next offensive lineman is Laken Tomlinson. All right, favorite of Martin Mayhew, drafted by him over there while he was in Detroit. First round pick. Got to get my guy here. Got to give him an extension. Laken Tomlinson was the last of the Mohicans to go down for the 49ers. He lasted longer than Mike Person did as far as on the injury front. But in the last game of the year, Laken Tomlinson got injured. Did not look good. But it turned out that he didn't need any surgery or anything like that. He's making a full recovery right now, and he's expected to be back for training camp. So, Nick, your thoughts on the man, Laken Tomlinson?
Look, if Tomlinson can just stop giving you one penalty per game at least, a false start, I thought this guy played exceptionally well this year. I really do. He was probably, I don't want to say second, but he was top 3 of our linemen this year. Had to be. He was just really consistent in all things. Consistent in his run blocking, consistent in his pass blocking, consistent on when he gave up sacks, consistent on getting a penalty per game. You almost knew that every game you were going to get at least one false start from Laken Tomlinson. And it did. But I'll take Laken Tomlinson back all day long. I thought he played well. Can we look up how many sacks he gave up? Because I bet it wasn't more than 3.
I will see if I can pull that up here based off of TIFF. Offense allowed pressure. Here we go. Let's see what this says here. All right. He took all of his snaps this year from the left guard position. And is this it right here? Nope. That's all 0, so that can't be right. There's no way he gave up no pressures. Let's see. Let me make this screen a little bit bigger. All right. Grades. All right, so the sacks he gave up this year were 4.
4? Okay.
He gave up 31 total pressures, 24 hurries, 3 hits, 4 sacks. And I can pull these numbers up for the other players if you guys want. I didn't think that you wanted to get that kind of information, but I guess that is kind of helpful when you're evaluating these kind of guys. Right?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I don't remember him giving up a lot of sacks. That's why I said like maybe 3.
It says here that he gave up 1 against Denver. He gave up 2 the week before against Seattle in week 13. So you got week 14, week 13.
And 1 against Arizona, I think.
And then you have to go all the way back to Arizona in week 5 where he gave up 1. Yep.
He's an average guy, you know what I mean? But he is consistent. So I'd rather have average and consistent than, not average or consistent. So obviously, but no, I mean, like I said, I would bring him back. I mean, the pressures are a little high, 31, but overall, how many snaps he probably took, that's probably like not even 1%.
His pass blocking snaps that he took were, that can't be right. It says that he only took 620 pass blocking snaps. Oh, I guess, I guess that is right. Yeah, that's right. Yep, 620 pass blocking snaps.
Yeah, so what is that? It's not like 5% of every snap. You know what I mean?
It's less than 1%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not even 1%. So to sit there and think 31 pressure sounds pretty high, but it's really not.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. You're talking about pressures. I was looking at sacks. My bad.
No, pressures, yeah.
Oh, you're going to make me do math, converting percents and stuff. Come on, man. I'm drinking over here. Let me see. 606. So if it was 60, that would be 10%. All right. So it's about 5%.
Yeah.
It's about 5%. It's crazy. He has a pass blocking grade on this chart here of 18.4.
How?
Nick, I don't know. And it was against the Chargers. 18.4 pass blocking grade. He allowed 1 hit, 3 hurries, and 4 pressures. I don't know how he got that grade. 18.4 pass blocking.
That's crazy.
That's insane. That's PFF, bro. I don't know. That's PFF. All right. So he's coming back though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I agree with you completely, man. He is old, reliable. He is someone that was, other than like I said at the very end, he was healthy down to the last minute. I got no complaints about him. He's not. I do think the Niners can do better, but I'm also understanding and coming to terms with the fact that the NFL does not have a ton of great offensive linemen just laying around anywhere. You're not just going to pick up somebody off the trash heap and expect them to come in and perform at a high level. We got a pretty good return on investment here from Lincoln Tomlinson. So I'm okay with him. I kind of like the dude, all right? You want overall grades from him really quick?
Yeah, we might as well just do it real quick.
All right. So we have here his run blocking grade was a 59.8, which was his worst part. His pass blocking grade was 74.1 for an overall grade of 64.2. And he finishes 4th in our overall grades here with a 64.2. 67.2 was by Mike Person. So according to this, he was a little worse than Person. He had a better pass blocking grade than Person by 3, but he had a worse run blocking grade than Person. So it is what it is. Not much to be upset about. I'm not sure the Niners were running that way much anyway. So I'm not going to argue with any of that stuff. And last but not least is our guy that we were hoping to see a little bit more of, but Mike Person said, "Nah, son, have a seat," and that is Najee Tehran. We don't have much to go off of, so let me pull up his preseason stats here. Nick, I don't know if you remember much about the young man from preseason. I know that we were watching for him because we got a chance to speak with him. But what were your thoughts on him and how he played? Or do you want me to go first? I don't mind starting first if you want me to.
Yeah, you can go first. It's fine.
So what I saw from him was up and downs. I remember I was really excited that we got a chance to speak with him before the preseason started and everything. And I was looking for him in the first game. I felt like he was really getting whooped. He played against the Cowboys. I wasn't too happy with how he was performing. I was like, oh man, like maybe we curse these guys when we speak to him. You know what I mean? Like I honestly, I felt bad for him. He didn't have that good of a game. And so, I remember watching and I was like, man, this guy's going to be a liability. He's not going to make the team. He's got to get his act together. He's got to do better than that. And I'm talking specifically about pass blocking. The run game in preseason, like they're just going to force it. And it's really hard to tell. You're not doing a lot of schemes and stuff like that. It's a lot of like really basic stuff that's going on, especially when you get down to the third and fourth stringers. You know what I mean? So it makes you take a step back. You want to see more pass blocking. That's how I really look to judge the offensive lineman in preseason that are long shots to make the roster, which is what he was. And so, I was watching him in pass protection. I was like, oh man, like, I remember he gave up a couple of big hits against the Cowboys, and I was like, this ain't good because these aren't even their starters. So, it is what it is. I remember the next week, I can't remember who we played though, but I remember I was really, really excited about how he played. I was like, he bounced back. He held every single person. Like, I don't think he let anybody get by him in pass protection. Anybody in the second week. Let me see if I can find who he played against. Hold on. But I know that he didn't I remember watching and I was like, yo, like he's killing it. Like, that's how you bounce back. That is great. That's how you bounce back. Like, I was really excited for him. Let me see. In week 1, we played the Cowboys in preseason. And week 2, who do we play in week 2?
In preseason?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Wasn't the Chargers?
No, Chargers is who we finished with. We played Indy. Was it Denver? Who play? Damn it, I can't remember. I'm drawing such a blank right now. I remember watching Najee, and I was like, yo, he's having a really good game. But I can't remember who it was. Anyway, I'll get it figured out. Maybe someone in the chat can answer the question for us. But I remember I was really excited about it. And all right, here we go. Preseason for the 49ers. The Texans. The freaking Texans. It was the Texans. That's what it was. All right. So, yeah, I remember watching, and I'm like, yeah, man, like he's having a good game. He bounced back. That's what you want to see. And then the next week, boom, he was back down again. And so the third week, the first week he was down in pass pro. The second week he was up really high. Third week he was down. The last week he was back up, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if this kid's gonna make it, man. Like he's up and down, up and down, up and down, and he ended up making it, but for the practice squad or whatever. Then he finally got called up, but he didn't get a chance to do much of anything. He was active for I think just one game that we thought that he was going to play in, but Mike Person earned the roster spot, or he earned the starting spot still. I don't think that he took any snaps at all throughout the regular season. So that's my reflection on him. The ups and downs kind of annoy me, but like Nick said, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt when these guys aren't starting on a regular basis. He showed some flashes in the pass blocking in particular. He showed some flashes of excellence, and then there were times where I was like, oh man, this kid is not doing the right things here. He's 6'2", 305 pounds, and he was not drafted at all. He's an undrafted free agent. But I really like the kid, man, not just because we had him on the show. I really did like Najee Tehran. So that's my little summary there, Nick. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much broke it down. I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think if you give him more time, he'll get better. Excuse me. If you give him more time, he'll get better. He had some flashes, like you said. He had some ups, he had some downs. But, I mean, that's expected. He's an undrafted free agent, brought in here. Nerves are probably crazy. I know that that's not an excuse, but, you know, you're a young kid. Spent most of his time on the practice squad this year, brought up late in the season. I mean, I don't see a reason why to not keep him for at least camp and see what happens. So, why not? It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, man. So, you're absolutely right. Let me see something here. All right. Do you want me to? I'll forget it. I'll give the grades, man. I don't mind giving the grades. So I have him here. Okay, against Dallas, he had a run blocking grade of 71.6. His pass blocking grade was 38.4. He only took 23 pass blocking snaps. He allowed 1 hit, 1 hurry, 2 pressures, and a penalty. So that's not good but that's his first NFL start ever. So let's keep that in mind, right? Here comes game 2. This is the game against Houston, okay? He had a run blocking grade that was really bad. It was 53.9, but his pass blocking grade was 82.2, which is really good. He allowed 0 sacks, 0 hits, 0 hurries, 0 pressures, and 0 penalties. That's the bounce back game that I was talking about. And I was sitting there like, yeah, that's my boy. Let's go, Najee, let's go. I was hyped, you know. Overall grade was 58.8. Preseason week 3 was against the Colts. That game was a very annoying game for me. But his run blocking grade got even lower. So he went from 71.6 run blocking to 53.9 in run blocking. Now here we are week 3, and it's 47.9. I mean, he's going downhill. Then there was the pass blocking grade, 52.0, like just 52 even. Very, very bad. His overall grade was a 49. And that was, I mean, he didn't take a ton of snaps there either. 17 pass blocking snaps, 7 run blocking snaps. So he was only in there for 24 plays. But again, you guys got to keep in mind that they were moving him around. So the first 2 games, he took all the snaps at left guard. In the third preseason game, he played right guard for 16 snaps. It said that he played 8 snaps at left guard. So they were moving him around. You kind of expect to see him fluctuating a little bit. He allowed 2 hurries and 2 pressures in the third preseason game. And then the fourth preseason game was his best overall game. This kid really found his own. He came into his own. And I think what kept him on the team is that they found out that he was versatile. They moved him specifically to right guard. He did not take any snaps at left guard, tackle, or center. And what he did was pretty good. His run blocking grade was 74.4. Okay. His pass blocking grade was a 75.3, and his overall grade was a 70.3. So you take it for what it's worth. That's what he was. Again, he was someone who got better as the time went on, and you let him stay in one spot. You let him practice. The preseason week 4 is what do they call that? That's not the dress rehearsal. That's week 3, but it's the one where the backups are going to get the most time. And he took a total of 38 snaps in that game, which was the most that he took other than the very first game. So any other thoughts there for me, Nick? Nick, hello.
Sorry. No, I'm good with him. I'm good.
All right, I gotta plug in my laptop here. It's got my notification that it's gonna die soon. Let me get my plug in here. Boom, boom.
West Coast said, Mike, can you play on the O-line for us? We'll give you a 3-year deal.
What? Who said that?
West Coast.
Nah, y'all don't want me on the offensive line. I'm not nice enough for that. I'll be out there eye gouging and tripping people, and I'd have all kinds of penalties all year long. You're not gonna keep pushing me around all game.
Like the water boy.
Yeah, right. Not just gonna be out there like that. All right, so let me see here. Where's my phone? Who is next on the list? We have boom. I think that's it for the offensive linemen in particular, right? That's what we're supposed to do. Do you think Najee makes a team, man? Do you think he's going to make the final? Do you think he'll be there?
I think he'll be there all through camp.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I think so too. I think he will. That's not good though, because I expect us to have to add some players, and we can't keep having everybody there all through.
Well, you can have them there all through camp.
Well, we know Mike Person's not going to be there. I don't think they're bringing him back.
Right. Well, he's a free agent. That's different.
All right, so we went through. Huh?
I said, yeah, but he's a free agent already, so
yeah,
that's different.
Yeah. All right.
Weston Richburg.
No, not yet. We're not to the centers yet.
Oh.
Right now on the team's roster, they have one official guard listed. Just one guard. And guess who it is?
Joshua Garnett.
Now, I'm going to pull up these PFF grades, and I'm going to be pissed because I remember people telling me about how Joshua Garnett played in preseason, and I was pissed because I know what I saw. He was one of the most dominant offensive linemen on the field when he was out there. Let me stop. Nick, your thoughts on Joshua Garnett?
You know the reasons, though, that people were like that is because Kyle Shanahan was running the ball the opposite side for some reason. So they didn't really see how well Garnett was blocking. So if you're not really looking at Garnett on those plays, you wouldn't have known. So if you go back and watch the all 22 for the preseason, you can see how well he was run blocking for the most part. He was opening holes, but the plays just weren't going there. So nobody really saw it and said, oh, my God, Joshua Garnett's making holes like the size of the Grand Canyon. I think preseason, he was a little underestimated. I can remember some games that we were sitting there watching together too, and you're like, why are they not running the Garnett side? Why? When Garnett's in there, there's a hole there, and the plays weren't being called there. I'm so aggravated with Garnett, man. Like, he's had so many ample opportunities to take the starting position, and for whatever reason it is, he just can't do it. I don't know if it's he can't stay healthy, if he just doesn't take his weight management right, I don't want to say weight management, but let's say I don't want to say health either. But if he's not training properly and he thinks he's just coming in there. Like, I watched a video the other day of him, like, he made some kind of video like getting chased by dinosaurs or something. And he just looked so out of shape. Like, he was just prancing around like I'm like watching him like, dude, what are you doing? Like what are you doing?
Where'd you see this on?
It was like I saw it on his Instagram page, I think.
You said he was getting chased by dinosaurs?
Well, like, they had this dinosaur in a video, and it was making it look like him and some guy were getting chased, and he's like literally I can't do it with my right arm, but he's like pirouetting like this with his short shirt on, belly all hanging out. And I'm like, what is this dude doing? I looked at him, I'm like, but I don't know if his game mentality is just not there or what. Like, he's had ample opportunities to take that position, and for some reason, he's
been injured. It's not some reason. The guy's been injured.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, why he's not being able to stay healthy? Like, it was his toe for the longest time. Like, he hasn't had major injuries. It's been stupid stuff. His toe twice, I think, right? It's not like he had any broken bones. You know, I'm not saying that turf toe is not bad because turf toe hurts like a mofo. But you know, there also comes a time where you have to try to work through that stuff. You know what I mean? We talked about Person doing it. We talked about Richburg doing it. You know what I mean? If you want that position bad enough, then you're going to work through some things. It's the NFL. You're going to have small little injuries like that. You know, but like for the longest time about his knee, I'm going to get a second opinion. I'm not going to play. Like, where's the drive? Like, that's what I'm looking for out of him.
Where's the urgency to get back on the field consistently?
Exactly. The drive, the urgency, putting yourself in position, which is, you know, getting yourself into better shape. I know some injuries are unpreventable, like, you know, broken arms and broken legs or things like that. But, you know, turf toe and things like this, and if your knee twitches and stuff like that, I understand that. But if they say that there's nothing wrong with your knee, work it out and get back on the field. Like, that's the only problem I have with Garnett. That's the only thing. Like, I think if he really puts his mind to it, I think he could be a hell of a player. But you got to have your mindset right to even be a great player. It doesn't just come on Sundays. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
So let me ask you this question, man. Now I kind of like kept harping on it in our group and to you in particular, like even on the side, like, Nick, look at him in preseason. Why is PFF grading him like this? Now, this is when this was before I got PFF, or you know what I mean? So this was before any of that stuff happened. And I'm asking people like, hey, what did PFF say about Garnett? I can't wait. I was excited, you know. I wanted to see the good reports. I wanted to hear the positive that they had to say about him. But they were like, oh, yeah, like a 54 overall. And I'm like, what? What were they watching? Even when the ball was like, honestly. So listen, guys, I will be the first person to tell you guys, I have had this bias for Joshua Garnett since before the 49ers drafted him. Okay. This is when I had a draft crush on Joshua Garnett. There was a quote floating around that said something along the lines of, I want to run through people's souls. Like, I want to block through their souls. That was the quote, something along those lines. And I was like, whoever that guy is, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, or running back, I like that guy right there. And then after we drafted him, we moved up to get him. We traded back into 31, I think it was, or something like that. 30, 31, somewhere around there to get him. He was someone that we traded back into the first round for. Number 28, not 31, my bad. We traded up to number 28 to get him. And it was after that the quote resurfaced. And I was like, oh, I got my guy. That's him. I didn't even remember that's who it was. I was like, I got my guy. That's great. So I've been pulling for him since that day. And I watch him with a bias. I have no problem admitting that. But this offseason in particular, I'm telling you guys that I watched every single snap. Only twice did I see him actually get whooped by somebody. Only 2 times. That's it. Every other time, he was dominant. And even in the run game, he was getting to the second level, taking out linebackers. Like, this guy was a monster. And I'm like, Nick, tell me you see it. Guys, come on, tell me you see it. And people were like, Mike, man, let it go. I'm like, no, because PFF is like, imagine if the coaching staff was like, oh, well, let's just see what PFF said. They're watching it for us. And first of all, that's a bad coaching staff. They shouldn't be your coaches. But there are people who are going to go out here and they're going to take these PFF grades as like biblical. You know what they say? Hey, look, they get paid to watch it. But watch it for yourself. Nick, I want to know what you saw as far as his performance in the pass game and in the run game in the preseason.
No, like I said, it was I thought it was decent. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, like, you know, with him getting that toe injury or whatever, like I said, if you go back and watch the all 22, you can see what Mike's talking about. You can see, if you specifically watch Joshua Garnett's play only. Don't watch where the play's going, but watch Joshua Garnett. I can agree with Mike on a lot of things. He was very seldomly beat or pulled around or beat like around the corner or pushed through or bull rushed, anything like that. But like I said, the thing that worries me about him is that drive and consistency and the eagerness to want to be on the field. Because here you play the whole year or the whole preseason and you look good and you're playing good, and then all of a sudden, my knee hurts again. And then you're out for 3 or 4 weeks when even Kyle Shanahan showed that he was pissed off. He's like, I don't know what's going on with Garnett. Like, I don't know. Ask him. You're going to have to ask him.
I don't know what's going on with him. You got to ask him, but I know he needs to get back out there.
Right, but he needs to get back out there. And Garnett was playing like chess with the coach. Like, oh, well, our medical staff say I'm good, but I'm going to get a second opinion. That hurts you, man. Like, I don't care how good you are, the coach isn't going to put you out there. If you're that much of a pansy ass, and it's like you could be really good on the field, but, I broke my fingertip or broke my fingernail. I'm not going back out there. You know what I mean? It's football. You're going to get minor injuries day in, day out. You're going to have bruises. You're going to get beat up, but you got to want to play. You can't be a fairy and say, oh, my knee hurts.
Nick, you can't call people fairies, bro.
Okay, sorry. Not meaning like that. Good Lord. But anyway, you got to correct me on air. But look, you got to play football. Like you can't let little things like that get you out. This is a physical sport. You knew what you were playing when you signed up. The difference in physicality from college to the NFL is huge. Difference. Like you got to know that you're coming into a more physical place. I just wish I could see more eagerness and drive out of him. Like I said, I think he could be a great player if he really put his mind to it. I really don't think his mind is there. It kind of goes back to, it just goes back to eagerness and willingness to want to be on the field and get through what you have to get through. Hit the ice bucket more. Do what you got to do to stay physically healthy. And there's going to be times you have to fight through injuries. I'm not saying go out there and play on a broken leg. But, I mean, look at Terrell Owens' year, and I hate to bring him up. But the year with the Eagles in the Super Bowl, he broke his fibula and his tibia, and he came back in the same season. Like, that's eagerness. Like, you're talking about a hurt knee because you twisted it, but there's no structural damage or anything else, and you're fighting with the coaching staff not to play. So get more eager, get more physical, and just want to play this game more.
All right, so let's talk about my man Joshua Garnett. Now, I just want to let everybody know that what made me upset was his preseason grades. I'm going to tell you what PFF had them rated as, okay? I'm just going to give overall grades. They had his overall grade as a 56.3 in preseason. His pass blocking grade was a 62.5, and his run blocking grade was a 53.2. He did not play in week 1 of the preseason. He made his debut against Houston, and then he played against Indy, and then he played against the Los Angeles Chargers. I didn't agree with their grades there, but let me tell you what they said about him in the regular season. In the regular season, he took 7 snaps against he took 14 snaps against Minnesota, and then he got injured. He took 10 snaps against the Raiders. He took 4 snaps against the Broncos, 1 snap against the Bears, and 30 snaps against the Rams in week 17. Okay. He finished the season, according to PFF, with a 55.0 run blocking grade. However, his pass blocking grade was 73.2. All right. His overall grade was a 59.4. Nick, does anything about these grades stand out to you or surprise you at all?
I think the run blocking one surprises me. I think it's a
low, right?
It's very low. I would expect his pass blocking to be up there because he's a very good pass blocker, but run blocking in the trenches,
he lived on the
decent. But I think he's better staying in the trenches than he is getting to the second level. Now, he can get to the second level. He can, and he does it well, but I think he's better in that, oh, I'm just going to drive you to the left or drive you to the right type of blocking compared to shed block, get out, get the secondary, linebacker or whoever you're going after in that scheme.
His biggest issue to me in run blocking is this. After he makes his move and he controls his guy,
he lets go.
He disengages and looks to get to the second level, whether or not the running back is past him or behind him and approaching. You know what I mean? If the running back behind him hesitates or stutter steps or something like that and tries to do a jump cut, he could blow up a play, even though he had his guy in control. He makes his move and then he lets him go. He's got to be a little bit more conscious of what he's doing because he doesn't get dominated at all in the run game. He doesn't. And pass blocking, it kind of shows that, if he's setting his feet, he's staying right there. No, you're not moving him much. So, and again, that's playing next to Weston Richburg, who was giving us a hard time a lot. But something interesting, his overall grade of 73.2 was the third best so far of all the linemen that we've talked about. Even better than Mike Person, who took his job. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Now we have one more offensive lineman to talk about. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Garnett?
No, just I just want to see that eagerness, man. I just want to see him be able to play.
Yeah, I will tell you guys this. I was having a heart attack, man. I thought that his contract was up, and I don't remember who it was. Someone pointed out to me that he had one more year on the contract, and then we get to exercise the fifth-year option if we want. And I was like, yes, he's got one more chance to prove himself. No one was more excited than me, I promise, because everyone out there probably hates him. I don't know if Nick is looking at the comments or not, but I'm sure a lot of people do not like Joshua Garnett at all. I am not one of them. I'm excited about him. This next guy, not so much. Last on our list is our center, man. He is the only center listed on the roster right now, and that is Weston Richburg. Now, let's shoot him some bail. I did not know that he played the majority of the season with an injury. Did you know that, Nick?
Yeah, I forget what it was, but I remember he was injured because we had nobody else. Like, he got injured. That's when Magnuson came in and played, and then Magnuson got hurt, and then Richburg came back in. I actually think there was another person that took a couple snaps at center too. I can't remember who it was now, but yeah, he had a lingering injury the entire year. Pretty much the entire year.
I think Mike Person took snaps at center.
Yeah, it might have been Person.
I can tell you, actually. Let me pull up Mike Person again really quick. I'm pretty sure Mike Person took some center snaps. Here we go. I got the game breakdown here. Mike Person. Yes. And against Oakland, he took 10 snaps at center, which explains why Garnett took 10 snaps in that game also. So, yeah, there's that. All right, let me go back to Weston Richburg. All right, so Nick, you want me to give the overall thoughts, or you want to go there first? How do you want to do this one? So the last guy. So, you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll jump in.
All right. So overall thoughts with Weston Richburg. Let me start by saying I like him because he's supposed to be really, really nasty. I have felt that this offensive line was missing that nasty attitude. Like, I'm talking like that Alex Boone type of player. That's why I wanted Joshua Garnett, because of that quote. That's why I liked Alex Boone so much. And Alex Boone at times was a liability. And that's why I was pulling for Weston Richburg so damn much. I wanted Weston Richburg to be a dominant force. I wanted him to come out here and just be a mauler. And I wanted him to be that guy that was going to talk junk and stand up for his teammates. That's who Weston Richburg is. That's who I know him to be. I didn't get a chance to see it. I saw the fight. I saw the fire, but the play wasn't living up to the hype, okay? Now, heading into this season, I listened to the Better Rivals with Oscar and David. I listened to their podcast, and if you guys are interested in breakdowns and things like that, and they give you all the numbers and statistics and DVOA and things like that, they give you a more in-depth look than what we do. But if you guys are interested in, check them out, the Better Rivals or the Niners Nation podcast, all right? But I was listening to them, and when we signed Weston Richburg, they were actually pretty excited about it because of his PFF rankings, right? And so I'm like, all right. I popped on some Giants tape, and I live up here in the Northeast, so I had seen a little bit of him, but I was never really overly impressed with what I saw. Okay, it was just all right. He's okay. That's how I felt. The grades that they were talking about didn't seem to add up though to what I was seeing on tape. So I was like, maybe they know something that I don't know. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? With the Giants, he had some really, really good years. None better than his 2015 year, where he finished the season with an 89.4. That's almost elite. 89.4 overall grade. He had an 86.7 run blocking grade, an 87.5 pass blocking grade. He was just supposedly really good, and he played the whole season pretty much with the Giants that year. And so that was his second year. That's the kind of steps you want to see a second-year player take, because he went from a 62.4 to an 89.4, exactly 27 points higher. Hopefully we can see that kind of growth out of out of Mike McGlinchey. But I digress. I just didn't see it. It didn't add up to me, okay? And so when I saw him come here this year, I was just like, he's not living up to the hype that people were telling me about, and I was a little concerned. I could see the desire. He's not a guy that I ever saw quitting, or someone gets behind him, he's standing upright and turning around slowly. I always saw him with a little bit of giddy up and still trying, but it wasn't there. And I'm like, man, we might need another center. You guys will remember I was a huge Daniel Kilgore supporter. And then this wasn't last year. It was 2 years ago. I really liked Daniel Kilgore. And then last year happened, he didn't do so well. And then Jimmy Garoppolo put a stamp of approval on Daniel Kilgore. Then Daniel Kilgore got extended. And I was still like, he had a down year. And then, boom, we traded Daniel Kilgore, and here comes Weston Richburg. A lot of times this year, I was watching the games, and I was like, you know what? Daniel Kilgore might have been the better choice. He might have been the better choice, and I don't know that. I don't know. I will pull up the overall grades for the two of them just to have a little fun comparison there, because we can do that here. We have Kilgore, and we have Weston Richburg. We had Trent Brown, and we have Mike McGlinchey. So we'll do the comparison, okay? But just for fun's sake. But I didn't see it. I just didn't see it, and I didn't understand what we traded for him for. I didn't understand. Not traded. Why we picked him up. I didn't understand the contract. I didn't understand what Oscar and David were talking to me about with the rankings and all that he had coming here from New York. And then I look at him this year, and I'm like, it's just not here. It doesn't match. But then I hear about this injury, and the injury is going to buy him some time in my book. I'm anxious to see him come back. I do believe that he can play better than what he was playing, because, again, you get to see some flashes here or there. But overall, I do believe he'll be here, and I do think he's even going to make the 53-man roster, whether it be because of salary or talent. I do think he's going to be here. I haven't asked Nick to look this up in a while, but I do want to know his figures because he just got that contract. I can't imagine he's a cheap out. Offensive linemen are hard to come by right now, and I'm imagining the Niners gave him some security, especially those first 2 years of his contract. I can't imagine that us cutting him is going to be beneficial to us. So he's going to be here. I'm hoping that he's here because he earns it, not just because of his salary. So I'm going to give the floor to Nick, and then after that, we'll go over the overall grades, and then we'll do a comparison between him and Daniel Kilgore.
All right, so he has – this contract's a mess. All right, so let's see here. Off of there, sorry. 5 years, $47.5 million contract with us in 2018. He received $16.5 million fully guaranteed, made up of $9.3 million signing bonus, a $4.2 million roster bonus, and his 2018 base salary. His 2019 and 2020 salaries are guaranteed for injury and will become fully guaranteed on April 1st of that year. There are annual workout bonuses of $100,000 per game and per game bonus of $400,000. So 2019, April 1st, $5.5 million of his base salary becomes fully guaranteed. So he'll make that. If we were to cut him pre-June 1st, the dead money would be $7,440,000, only a cap saving of $395,000. If we cut him post-June 1st, it's $1,860,000 of dead money and $5,975,000 of cap savings. Now, This is where it gets tricky. So his cap number this year is $7,835,000. Next year it's $8,860,000. 2021 it's $10,210,000. And 2022 it's $11,010,000. So if you cut him pre-June 1st or post-June 1st, it's only going to cost you $1.8 million. Well, 1.9, let's just say. Any of those years, you can cut them post-June 1st, and it'll be the same numbers. Other than your cap savings would be more because his cap numbers more going up. So he's going to be 28 years old this year. Every year left in his contract, April 1st in 2019, 2020, his base salary becomes fully guaranteed. 21 is a March 9th deadline to exercise his 2021 option. And 22 is a March 8th deadline to exercise his 22 option. So he still has to make from us $27 million for the rest of his years. 1, 2, 3, 4 more years on his contract. So it's a lot of money, man. Huh?
He's not going anywhere. Not this year.
No, he's not going anywhere. I mean, unless we cut him post June 1st. But he'll make that fully guaranteed money. So you're paying him $5.5 million if you cut him after June 1st. If you cut him to save that money, you're paying him $4 million to cut him. So he's not going anywhere. I like the dog in this guy. The only problem is sometimes the dog is too much. Like there were a lot of times where he got costly penalties. Just being an idiot, going out after people, stuff like that. But I don't know if I'm so much with you on thinking he can come back with the injury, but I'm willing to give him a shot. Overall, I don't think he played that bad. But could we upgrade? Did I like Kilgore better? I like Kilgore a lot as well. I was kind of sad to see him leave because I thought he was finally getting his shot. But then, Richburg came in here and outplayed him or did whatever he did, and Kilgore just wasn't playing well. Obviously he's not going anywhere. He's stuck here. Let's just pray and hope that he gets better. I think he can get better on run blocking. Well, I think he can get better on all facets of the game, truthfully, run blocking and pass blocking. But yeah, I got to see if it was the injuries, because wasn't the injury to do something with his hands?
I don't know. I'm still not sure what the injury was, to be honest with you. I would be lying. Let me just Google really quick Weston Richburg injury and see what comes up, because I don't know, man. I don't even remember what it was. All I know is that I felt bad for assuming that he was just that bad. Weston Richburg suffers a knee injury.
Yeah, it's a knee injury.
Yeah, that was during the Cardinals game. And they said that it lingered on throughout the entire year. He had head injuries coming from the Giants. That's right. He's a guy who had that he had a concussion that kept him out for a couple of games, and he was eligible to return at the end of the year.
And they never did. Yeah, his concussion, like he was out of the concussion protocol, and then he just never went back in. I remember you using that as like, well, this guy couldn't even get back on the field.
Yeah. Yep. And then we give him this big ass contract. That's what bothered me, is that if he's that good, they would have put him back in.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, how free agency is though. It's overpay. And that's the only thing that hurts with every person in free agency gets overpaid.
It's one thing to overpay, dude. It's one thing to overpay. He was guaranteed $16.5 million.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Daniel Kilgore must not have been doing something completely right, because I don't know. We extended him. And then the day that we got Richburg, we traded him.
Well, Daniel Kilgore, he took a really friendly team deal too. Like, I remember that extension. He flat out said it, like, "Oh yeah, I gave him a big discount."
Yeah.
He gave them a discount, and then they did him dirty. They traded him to another team. That was not cool at all. Like, all right, like if you're gonna let me go, just let me go and let me play the off season and see what happens. You know what I mean? Don't
Well,
make me take a discount and then you trade me somewhere. That's not cool.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is you're gonna overpay, but if you're gonna overpay, make sure you truly like this guy and he can truly play. Like, don't just say, "Oh, well, we really want this guy," and there's a competition for him. And if there's competition for him, and you don't all your facets of his game better be like, I really like this, I really like this, I really like this, I really like this. If you have one or two of those things not there, don't pay the money because it's just not worth it. But I think they get into bidding wars and they say, well, I really need this center and I really need this, and he's a great fit for this. We can work on that. Let's give him this money. But then when you come to work on that, and most guys that hit free agency are older, they're in their 30s normally. So they tend to take step back. But yeah, just it's crazy. I mean, I'm so used to every football team overpaying people in free agency. They get ridiculous numbers. Ridiculous. And it really is the first person who signs in that position. And then that just sets the trend. And I mean, it works that way with the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid quarterback for a few weeks. And then such and such said, well, Jimmy Garoppolo just got this. I want this amount. You know what I mean? And then the numbers just go up. Now Jimmy Garoppolo is like the fifth or sixth top paid quarterback in the league. But that's just the way it happens. It's a money league. It's a numbers league. Your numbers are going to be based just like the franchise tag. That franchise tag is based off of how, what the average of people are. So you're going to overpay, but I don't have a problem with you overpaying if you like every single facet and aspect of the guy's game. If there's one doubt in it, don't overpay. Just go after the next guy. If you feel you have to coach him, pay the less money and coach the other guy.
All right. Excuse me. All right. Well, time for Weston Richburg's overall grades here. They weren't anything phenomenal. His overall, his pass blocking grade, which was his strong suit, was, I can't believe that was his strong suit because I felt like he was a huge liability in the pass game. But whatever. It was 61.6. His run blocking, PFF really annoys me. Okay. His run blocking grade was 50.3, and his overall grade was 51.9. Now, I do have Daniel Kilgore's number here. Daniel Kilgore tore his triceps in week 4 against the Patriots. So it's a very small sample size. Let me ask you this, though. Who do you think had a higher overall grade?
It's going to be hard to guess that correctly because it goes by snaps for overall grade, but I'm going to have to say Richburg.
This is so close that you're not really wrong. Weston Richburg finished with a 51.9. Daniel Kilgore finished with a 52.9. It literally 1 point separating the two of them. Richburg did have a better pass blocking grade of 61.6, where Kilgore's was 56.9. But Kilgore had a better run blocking grade of 50.6, where Kilgore had 50.3.
Wow.
So, again, that was only through 4 games, and he tore his triceps. That sounds painful, man. I can't imagine what that's like.
Hey, I have a torn bicep. I know what that shit feels like.
Yeah, I just, oof. But yeah, so that's it, man. Those are all the offensive linemen on the 49ers roster as it currently stands. I'm looking forward to seeing some more of the additions to come into play here. You know what I mean? I just want to see what the team can bring to the table here. There is plenty of room for improvement. Guys like Richburg, guys like Garnett, guys like Magnuson are all going to be in danger of losing their jobs if we end up bringing in some other guys. You know what I mean? Najee Tehran. These guys are all going to be in danger of losing their jobs. If I had to say that anybody was safe at this very moment, there's probably only 3 of them. It's going to be Richburg, Staley, and McGlinchey. I think maybe I'll throw Tomlinson in there only because he just got that extension, but that knee injury, I'm not even sure if he's safe. It was a knee injury for Tomlinson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure if he's safe. but we'll see what happens. It was an injury that happened during football. I'm sure there's some kind of clause in there to get him paid still. And that would probably allow the team to walk away with paying him X amount of dollars, but then nothing else going forward. Probably voids the rest of the contract or something like that. Who knows the way it's worded and the way it's all set up. But that's really it, man. I don't have much else for you. You got anything else you want to touch on tonight before we get out of here?
No, that's pretty much it. I see we got a lot of new people in here, like staff. He was saying they don't even pay attention to the chat. Why don't they FaceTime? We do pay attention to the chat, but we usually pay more attention to the chat and interact with fans on our Thursday night show. Tuesdays and Sundays, we're pretty much just going at it. We let you guys conversate. We'll try to jump in and out on the chat, on the physical chat, and typing. So, but if you have any questions, you can always call us at 628-888-3443. Leave a message. Or you can email us at nbniners@nothingbutniners.com. And that's pretty much it I got for Mike. Offensive line. All right, let me ask you one question before we leave, though. Do you think that we go after any type of free agent offensive lineman, or do you think we draft one late?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. I think we sign some guys, even if they're just camp bodies. We have to build it up where there's 3 teams playing on offense, 3 teams playing on defense. We just don't have those numbers right now. You need to have 15 offensive linemen going at all times. So I think we're gonna pick up some guys. I think it could be. I think we end up drafting 1 offensive lineman. I'm just not sure what round we draft them in, and I think we probably pick up 1 or 2 in undrafted free agency as well. So I do think we're gonna make some moves. Yeah, guys, like Nick was saying there. This show is all about a position breakdown. This isn't one that we typically do for the public. If you guys want to interact with us, we absolutely would love that. We appreciate that. Those are Thursday shows. We will see you guys on Thursday, where the fans can call in, the fans of the 49ers can call in and sound off about anything concerning the team. Supporters of the Nothing But Niners, we want to thank you guys also for checking us out and tuning in. You guys can always absolutely give us a call, send us an email, join us on video if you'd like. Send us in questions, mailbag questions that you want us to talk about. Use the hashtag AskNBNiners on all your social media avenues. We will find those, okay? Nick gave you guys the emails. You can hit us up on Twitter if you're on Twitter. Nothing but 9ERS. Hit us up personally. I am 49ers Mike _NF. Nick is 49er Faithful 365. Tony also likes to do some of the mailbag things. He is NJ Niner fan 499. Yeah, 499. NJ Niner fan 499. And we tackle those mailbag questions and things like that for you guys. The whole crew is really good at all that kind of stuff. So hit us up, guys. Don't be strangers. Follow us up on the Facebook page as well. Become a member. There's so many of them over there right now. And show us some love on Instagram as well. Nothing But Niners is spelled all the way out. And check us out on Snapchat also. Nothing But 9ERS, just like the Twitter handle. I got nothing else for you guys. Ready to do this, man? Ready to get out of here?
Yeah, man. I'm good.
Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out.